What's up, Kansas City? I'm your host, Glenn Bryan Frizzell. We are taping today at the historic Lincoln Building, new home of Cascade Media Group. Today's special guest has experience as a board commissioner, United Governor, Wyandotte County,
Unified government.
Unified Government of Wyandotte County. He was sworn in as mayor on April 25th, 2012. What's up, Kansas City? Please welcome Mayor of Kansas City, Kansas, Mr.
Mark Holland.
Mark Holland.
That's right.
Thank you for agreeing to be on our show today.
Glad to.
Why do you think the voters of Kansas City, Kansas chose you?
Well, I had a good record. I've been a pastor in the community. I'm a United Methodist pastor. I'm fourth generation Wyandotte County, third generation United Methodist pastor in Kansas City, Kansas. I ran in 2007 as a commissioner and was fortunate to win. I won, every vote counts. I won by 35 votes out of 13,000 cast in a county-wide at-large seat. It went well. 4 years later, I was reelected more easily to my second term. And then just last year in 2013, I ran for mayor. Joe Reardon, who's done a great job for our community, decided not to seek a third term, so I ran and was fortunate enough to be chosen. But I think that just a vision for the next steps in Wyandotte County. Wyandotte County has come so far in the last 15 years after unification with the exponential growth we've had. I think people were really wanting to see that growth continue, and not only continue, but really to take it to the next level. And so that's been a part of why I've been excited about pursuing the position and serving in this role.
Mayor Mark Holland, you have experience as a board commissioner. You succeeded Mayor Joe Reardon. I would like to stress to our What's Up Kansas City viewers that we have talked to mainly people on this side of the state line of Missouri. We want to learn about more what's going on in Kansas City, Kansas. We talked to Sidney King, who's executive with Liberty Bank.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about your vision in terms of economic development for the Kansas City, Kansas area?
Sure. The metro area is very aware of the success we've had out west with Village West. We have the NASCAR track, Nebraska Furniture Mart, Cabela's, the Legends Shopping Center. We now have the new Sporting Kansas City Soccer Park. We have the T-Bones Baseball. We've become we have the Schlitterbahn Water Park, Great Wolf Lodge. I mean, we have tremendous assets out there and has really made us a tourist destination. That area 15 years ago had a gas station and a Kentucky Fried. Mm-hmm. And now we receive, with this new development, over $17 million in annual property tax receipts, and it generates $650 million in annual sales. So this has become a huge economic engine in our community. The good news is we have an economic engine to begin reinvesting in our urban areas, and that's really one of my top priorities, the urban reinvestment. We've done a couple things. One, we've opened in the last 6 years, we've opened 5 new grocery stores. Those are the first 5 new grocery stores in Wyandotte County in 30 years.
Wow.
And really, it's an opportunity. They're all public-private partnerships. It's where the unified government has been willing to partner with great operators to say, let's really enhance our community by bringing the grocery stores in. My big 2 priorities right now for urban redevelopment are Indian Springs, which many people are familiar with. It's at 635 and I-70. It's affectionately known as the Dead Mall. It's empty now, but it's a 100-acre property that the unified government completely controls. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping this summer to have an announcement about the kind of redevelopment that's going to go there that is going to include retail as well as hopefully some office and some housing.
I remember my mom taking me to that area summer times.
No, that's right.
Sales.
No, that's right. When I was a kid, that's where we bought all of our school clothes. It was right there at Indian Springs.
Yeah.
So it's been closing or closed for a long time, but it's a high priority of ours. It's in a midtown area, and we really need that retail redevelopment right there in midtown. The other section is downtown. I believe our downtown is everyone's downtown, and I believe that revitalization in downtown is going to be imperative. One of the things we've done already is through a Tiger Grant, a federal Tiger Grant for infrastructure, is we've improved our bus system down State Avenue, down Minnesota and State. So in our downtown area, we built a new bus station that connects to the downtown Kansas City, Missouri bus station, and it connects to Johnson County. It also goes out, we built a new station out at Indian Springs, the site I just mentioned, and now it runs all the way out to the Legends. before we upgraded this infrastructure for that bus line, it took over an hour to go from our downtown to the Legends. And now we've cut that to 30 minutes. And that's imperative for folks not only who want to shop out west, but also because of the many jobs. We have over 6,000 new jobs out west that we never had, and connecting our folks to those jobs is imperative. And how we connect them using the bus route has been very important.
I know you've been asked this question before. In the next 3 to 4 years, millions of dollars will become available after the city finishes off paying bonds that were issued to increase economic development in western Wyandotte County.
That's right.
We have the speed track. We have Village. Is it Village
West?
As mayor, you've encouraged that this money will be spent on infrastructure.
Yeah, so we have about a $12 million new revenue coming in 2017, and that's when the STAR bonds. The STAR bonds are state tax revenue bonds, STR, state tax revenue bonds, and those STAR bonds have helped build this infrastructure that has allowed for this development. And it's a great partnership with the state and the local community as well as the businesses. So currently all the sales tax that's being generated out there, that $650 million in annual sales, is generating about $65 million in sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
Our percentage of that from the local government will be conservatively about $12 million. Mm-hmm. That will be new revenue coming into the city. We've heard very clearly the priorities in our community include lowering taxes. The taxes in Wyandotte County continue to be too high. They're still the highest in the region. We need to continue to improve public safety, which is something we've made great strides in. Mm-hmm. And we need to invest in the infrastructure throughout our community, but especially our urban areas where there's just not the quality of infrastructure that allows for new development.
So you're listening to your voters. Mayor Holland, let's talk about another area that you're going to cover in your State of the United
Government, yeah.
United Government. I'm still trying to get that across. 1997 United Government speech, which I should say Mayor Holland will be giving the State of the Government speech at 11:30 a.m. Tuesday, February the 25th at the Jack Reardon Convention Center, 5th and Minnesota Avenue in Kansas City, Kansas, and that is from the Wyandotte Daily News. When I first read about you talking, you were going to talk about the healthy community, I thought about First Lady Michelle Obama.
Absolutely.
And her Healthy Community Initiative. Does that have anything to do with?
Well, that's great. I mean, the what's coming out of the White House has been a great asset to the community, and particularly communities like ours that are trying to rebuild our healthy infrastructure. Mm-hmm. In 2009, the Kansas Health Institute ranked Wyandotte County 105th out of 105 counties in Kansas in overall healthiness. Now, the way they did that is they had about 40-some different criteria that they used that they ranked different communities. The number one correlate, of course, is poverty. Mm-hmm. Because Wyandotte County has a high level of poverty, there are a lot of things that correlate with poverty. Smoking rates are higher in poor areas. Drinking and drug use are higher in poorer areas. Obesity rates and lack of access to health care are higher. So when you look at all the correlates, we were really challenged in overall health. So Mayor Reardon, myself, and 2 other commissioners immediately got together with stakeholders from around the community, from the grassroots level all the way to the executive level in our community, to talk about how can we address his overall healthiness on a comprehensive scale. And we formed out of those discussions Healthy Communities Wyandotte. And Healthy Communities Wyandotte is a task force that has 5 action areas. One is communication, where we're trying to get the word out about healthy options in our community. Another is education, and Dr. Ray Daniels, our former superintendent of schools, is spearheading the healthy education component, and he's working with all the school districts, the 4 public school districts as well as the private schools, to talk with them about what they can do to improve health in the schools and to educate people about healthy lifestyles. We also have, in addition to the communication and education, we also have healthy infrastructure, which deals with sidewalks and trails to give people healthy options to get out of their house and exercise, but as well as community centers and building on having facilities where people can go and exercise and make better choices for themselves. The 2 other areas that are very important in Healthy Communities Wyandotte, one is access to health care. Wyandotte County has 5% of the state's population, but 10% of the state's uninsured. And the Affordable Care Act is very important in our community. The Affordable Care Act, with that enrollment, gives us the opportunity to cut the number of uninsured in our community in half. So we have taken a very aggressive outreach and enrollment effort through my office, through our health department and through Healthy Communities Wyandotte, where we've hired a full-time bilingual person to go out and enroll people. I've done robocalls with the Greater Kansas City Health Foundation to go into the neighborhoods ahead of the enrollers going out. Just a very aggressive rollout to make sure that people understand the options that the Affordable Care Act offers. The other piece that's very important is the expansion of Medicaid, and both Missouri and Kansas legislatures are balking at expanding Medicaid. Medicaid is critically important because after the Affordable Care Act cuts our uninsured in half, the expansion of Medicaid would cut it in half again. And what's going to happen is our very poorest people need the expansion of Medicaid because they won't qualify for the Affordable Care Act. Mm-hmm. So we'll actually have people with more resources, and the very poorest will have insurance, but the very poorest people will not. Mm-hmm. So I'm actively lobbying our governor, and Governor Brownback, and our Kansas legislature to put the political pieces aside to make sure that we are expanding Medicaid to help the very poorest of the poor in our community. The other thing that it helps are our hospitals. Kansas City, Kansas has already bulldozed one hospital. The hospital I was born in, Bethany, ran out of money paying to treat people who didn't have insurance, and that hospital's gone now. But KU Hospital and Providence Hospital are doing well, but the loss of revenue they will experience under the Affordable Care Act without the expansion of Medicaid is devastating. KU Hospital will lose $26 million in federal money if the legislature does not expand Medicaid. Mm-hmm. And so that's a high priority of mine, and it's a big lobbying effort that we're doing. The final component of Healthy Communities Wyandotte is the access to healthy food. And the grocery store theme that we've been working on ties into that very well. We also are working on community gardens and a green market, using a lot of our vacant land for people to be gardening and growing their own healthy food, and really teaching that priority. But there's one issue that I really want to talk about that I'm the most excited about, which is our healthy campus. So we asked the grocery company, Associated Wholesale Grocers, to look at sites in downtown Kansas City, Kansas, where a grocery store could be viable, because that's one of our biggest food deserts right now is northeast Kansas City, Kansas. They looked at 5 sites and found a site at 10th and State that they thought would be viable around Big 11 Lake. In an unrelated story, the YMCA downtown in Kansas City, Kansas, at 8th Street, mm-hmm. is in a 100-year-old building that needs to be rebuilt. They need a whole new YMCA. So they vetted a number of sites in downtown.
Pretty old. Last time I was in there, they just added DVD players to the treadmill.
Yeah, and it's we're one of 5 communities in the nation that still has a 100-year-old building that our YMCA is in.
Wow.
So we're ready to build a new one. Mm-hmm. But the YMCA vetted sites downtown, and they came up with the same site, 10th and State, around Big 11 Lake. And I don't know if you're familiar with Big 11 Lake. Clearly the 11 is big because the lake is not. But it's right there between State and Washington Boulevard and 11th and 10th Streets.
All right.
A little green space and a lake that's heavily used by our community. It's important green space in our downtown. Mm-hmm. So as we looked at this, we decided we want to do more than just a grocery store or just a YMCA. We really need a comprehensive community center that the Y would run. But this is looking to be a healthy campus. And we're looking at a master plan now that's going to tie in the grocery store, the community center run by the Y, the green space. We're also looking at, is there a possibility of doing some kind of hospital or health clinic down in that area? We're partnering with the Housing Authority, the School for the Blind, District 500, the Catholic schools. We're partnering with everyone to build a healthy campus that will represent a $30 million investment in downtown Kansas City, Kansas, and will give us the opportunity to really move the needle on a lot of the criteria that had us ranked last in overall health. So I'm very excited about the healthy campus and very excited about the opportunities that's going to bring to our whole downtown.
Sounds like a good plan moving forward, so I can eat healthy, breathe healthy, and work out all day.
That's exactly right. And in fact, the new YMCAs are doing kitchens to teach people how to cook. So people with diabetic problems or hypertension or heart issues that need to learn how to cook better can buy healthy food at the grocery store, learn how to cook it at the YMCA in cooking classes. Really remarkable programming that's going on right now.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but Kansas City, Kansas is listed by Wikipedia as the 3rd largest city in the state of Kansas. It seems that you have a great relationship with Mayor Sly James and administrators in Kansas City, Missouri. But off the record, do you still get kind of frustrated when Kansas City, Kansas gets confused with Kansas City, Missouri by well-meaning out-of-towners?
Well, I think what's happening is Kansas City, Missouri is starting to get confused with Kansas City, Kansas,
Ah.
right? You know, I think we're just going to say, I always call it the other Kansas City. You know, we're glad to share the name with our partners in Missouri. No, I love working with Sly James. He's been a great partner. Anytime I give it to him, he gives it right back.
I'll let you borrow the Chiefs next year.
No, well, that's right. But we have, you know, we've had a great relationship on a number of issues. One thing that we've worked well on, you know, we hosted the All-Star game for soccer, and Sporting Kansas City, which has their offices in Kansas City, Missouri, but of course the stadium is in Kansas City, Kansas. We hosted that. We did a lot of the publicity around the All-Star game for the soccer game together. That was a great partnership. We're also doing partnering around the Republican National Convention, of trying to bring that convention to the Kansas City metro area. And Sly James and his office are leading that charge, because they have Kansas City, Missouri has a Sprint Center and has some of the majority of the downtown hotels. But they're going to need, the Republican National Convention will need every hotel room from the airport to Olathe and from the Legends out to Liberty. I mean, they're going to need the whole metro area to be successful with this bid. And so it's been a privilege to partner with Sly James in terms of reaching out to that group and putting together that bid. And it's been a lot of fun bantering and educating the world that there are two Kansas cities. In fact, this group, Mozilla, that's doing a rollout, they're working in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and they're working in Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri for an internet startup investment. And they said, well, we're so glad to partner with two cities that have great barbecue. Now, I know they weren't talking about Chattanooga, Tennessee. I know they're talking about Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri.
That's right. Yes.
But anyway, it's been a great partnership with Sly James, and I look forward to continue to working with him.
In the email that your press relations person sent me, Mr. Bill, he talked about you have a county executive who is retiring after 30 years.
Yes.
He was with the United government when it began in 1997, Mr. Dennis Hayes.
That's right.
What is the selection process? How are you going to replace someone who's been with the government for so long?
Well, Mr. Dennis Hayes has been a tremendous asset and a tremendous leader in moving Kansas City, Kansas, and Wyandotte County forward. I think he started in 37 years ago.
37
years ago with the Kansas City, Kansas. At that time, he worked his way up. And in 1997, when we unified the government, the voters adopted a new charter, largely because people were fed up with the dysfunction in Kansas City, Kansas. It wasn't going well. There was high crime. There were people moving out. The city was in disarray. And the citizens of the community rose up and adopted a new charter, voted on it, put in a new form of government. Carol Marinovich obviously led that. She was the mayor at the time, and she became the first mayor of the new unified government. She led the city for 8 more years under that policy, and then Joe Reardon, of course, led for 8 years. But through that whole process of unification, the constant has been Dennis Hayes. And he was named the administrator at unification and has really helped lead this renaissance. You know, was on the ground with NASCAR, on the ground with the Legends, all the Western development, and has been leading the charge in reinvesting those resources back in the urban area. So replacing a legend is going to be a challenge.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, big shoes to fill. I mean, I know even as mayor, I stand on the shoulders of giants. If it weren't for Carol Marinovich and Joe Reardon and the work they did before I got into office, I wouldn't have the same opportunities that I do have.
That's very humble for you to say so.
Well, and it's real. I mean, if you look at the city that Carol Marinovich inherited when she became mayor with so many challenges, and without the economic engine out west, she helped build that economic engine, and Joe Reardon only expanded it. And so the two of them really created a framework where I can be more successful. And of course, the challenge for me is higher because nobody wants to mess this up. So we've got to keep this success going and really taking it up a notch. So as we're looking at a new administrator, that process is underway right now. We're doing a national search to make sure we have the best internal and external candidates. But we've had a lot of interest in this position, a lot of high caliber interest. And I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to be able to announce our new administrator who's going to take us to the next level.
Wow, the bar has been raised. There's no turning back.
Absolutely.
I have 2 more issues that I would like to briefly touch on, and then I'll open the floor to you. Any closing remarks?
Sure.
First is crime. We know that you have an intern police chief who is sitting in the seat, I guess, for your retired personnel, Mr.
Yes.
Rick Armstrong.
Yes.
How do you feel with her performance, and where do you see the police department moving forward?
Sure. Our police department has been great. Kansas City, Kansas is experiencing a 40-year low in crime. Some of that's a national trend that we're seeing across the country, but really It has to do with our police department's commitment to community policing, number one, and to data-driven police work. So they're doing things, they have their ComStat, which is really cutting-edge material, where they're seeing statistically where crimes are occurring in real time, and they're targeting resources to those areas. The police department is well ahead of the curve in terms of making sure that our city is as safe as possible. In fact, our commitment to this is huge. In the new Indian Springs, as we're working to develop that, and we built our new transit center there, we put the Midtown Police Department Central Patrol right in that building, in our transit building, because we want to make sure everyone, as they're traveling and in that area, feels as safe as possible. When Rick Armstrong retired, he's done a great job for our city. He made a decision to go to District 500 public schools. They're converting their security force over to a full-fledged police department, which is common in a lot of school districts around the country, particularly in response to some of the shootings that have happened around the country in schools. That school districts are taking the policing of their campuses, they're looking at it in a very different way. And so he's going to lead that transition over at District 500, so he's still in our community, still working for our kids in our community. And one of the reasons that we did an interim, we have Chief Ellen Hansen. She was the chief in Lenexa for over 20 years and did an outstanding job there. She retired from Lenexa. She's an original Dot, graduated from Wyandotte High School.
Wow,
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, so when the opportunity came, one of the things that our administrator, Dennis Hayes, wanted to do is he wanted to make sure the new administrator had an opportunity to hire their person for the chief. And so his intent was to put an interim in there that would not just hold down the fort, because Ellen Hansen is so talented. She's really helping to do some evaluation and helping to move our department forward even in her 6-month stay. But also to create a space so the new administrator can come in, do a comprehensive search for the new police chief, and then put that person in place.
Okay, Mayor Holland, let's talk about education. I kind of don't want to step out of the box, but I'm going to go ahead. Recently, we've seen Governor Brownback in Topeka step up and say that the Constitution empowers the legislative branch, the people's representatives, to fund our schools, and funding public schools is not necessarily the state Supreme Court's job. Still, he wants to gain conservative support for a proposal to start an all-day kindergarten. What do you think about Kansas City, Kansas' general commitment to education, and for education being the link to better employment, better lifestyles, and less crime overall?
No, absolutely. We learned after World War II the importance of public education in terms of educating not some kids but all kids. And this country has made a comprehensive commitment across the nation to building a public school infrastructure that really is the link that gives every child an opportunity to grow and thrive and reach their full potential. The 4 public school districts in Kansas City, Kansas are outstanding in that respect. Certainly the Catholic schools in our area are very strong as well. The challenges that we're having obviously are statewide in that there's a lot of pressure, budget pressure, and cutting of educational costs, not the total education budget, but in terms of the in-classroom expenditures at the state have been declining. And that's putting a lot of pressure. And the pressure comes in this way. When I was in middle school, and it's probably true for a lot of us, we had industrial arts. We learned how to work with our hands and had a choice then given to us very early in our education whether we're going to go the academic route or whether we're going to go the trade route.
Right.
And really, that's been removed from all of our schools, both junior high and middle school, due to budget costs. Wow. There's a lot of pressure on the arts in the public schools, where kids who could take an artistic track, that is not offered at the same level because of the cuts that we're receiving. So really, we're having a lot of challenges. Now, one of the things I'm proud of in District 500, Dr. Cindy Lane is doing an outstanding job for our public schools. In our largest school district, District 500 has 20,000 students, and 95% free and reduced lunch, and 43% of our school district speak Spanish at home. And so one of the things she's adopting right now is what she's calling the Diploma Plus program. And Diploma Plus is where every child's going to graduate from high school with a diploma, plus either 30 hours of college credit that they will earn simultaneously with high school through our community college. Our great Kansas City, Kansas Community College, Dr. Doris Givens does an outstanding job there. Or they graduate with a diploma plus a professional certification, again through our community college that has training in welding and heating and air conditioning and beauticians and childcare. that every child that graduates from our high school should have a diploma plus a certification in a real skill that they can walk out of high school and have a meaningful job that can actually help raise their family.
That's the new push for public education. That's on the cover of Time magazine this week.
Yeah, so KCK is ahead of Time magazine. That's all I can say.
Well, with that, I do want to ask you about social media. You know, the guys nowadays are really tech savvy. Are you for it, against it? I know you tweet regularly.
I'm very for it. I mean, it's very important. The social media, the challenge we have with social media in Kansas City, Kansas, is true in the urban area, a lot of the urban areas, is the digital divide. Mm-hmm. You know, when we have 40% of our residents that don't have access to computer or internet at home,
that's a problem.
It is a problem. The social media is so important, but we have to be conscientious to know that we're still missing a huge group of people in our own community. Mm-hmm. So while social media is important for reaching the younger folks and meeting a certain bandwidth of people in our community, we use it aggressively. I think it's obviously the wave of the future. My goal as mayor, and through the Google project and the Google to the home, fiber to the home, is to close that digital divide so that all of my community can participate in the social media and the benefits that it has. Because the internet is no longer a luxury. The internet's a utility. Job applications are online. Educational opportunities are online. I mean, health opportunities are online. If you don't have access to the internet, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities that's pushing people further and further behind socioeconomically. So if we're going to raise up our whole community, we've got to get people online, we've got to get them digitally savvy, and we've got to get the devices in their hands that they can use to stay in touch with the world.
Mayor Mark Holland, I know you're a very busy man. I would like to thank you for walking with me through this
Absolutely.
particular interview. Do you have any closing words for What's Up Kansas City viewers?
Well, I'm very excited about the opportunities that Kansas City, Kansas has, not only in isolation, but in partnership with Kansas City, Missouri, and the whole metropolitan area. I think a strong Wyandotte County is better for the whole metropolitan area, and I think the growth that we've had is very significant. I also recognize that the greatest challenge we have, and this is every city in America, is to make sure that the prosperity that we have is not just for some, but for everyone. Not just in some areas, but in all areas. And continuing to build that urban infrastructure throughout Kansas City, Kansas is our top priority. So I appreciate your helping get that message out. I appreciate the work that you're doing in terms of the communication and the things that are going on in our community. And I look forward to continuing our conversation in the future.
Awesome. If you have anyone you suggest to be on the show, and we also want to invite you to come back. Mayor Mark Holland will give the State of the Government speech, 11:30 a.m. Tuesday, February 25th. And my memory is right here at the Jack Reardon Convention Center, 5th and Minnesota Avenue, Kansas City, Kansas. What's up, Kansas City? I'm your host, Glenn Bryan Frizzell. Check out more video online at www.whatsupkansascity.net. And remember, the sky is truly the limit. If you aim high, aim for the moon. If you miss, at the very least, you would have landed among the stars. Thank you very much. Take care. All right, we'll stop.
Glenn, thank you very much.
Pleasure meeting you.
Good to meet you as well.
CMG wants you to always remember, the victory we call success goes to the best prepared. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Thanks.